The Greek word for obedience is literally a willingness to listen, to hearken. Now, God asks of us an unreserved willingness to listen. He does not expect perfect performance. He knows better than that. But if he gets less than a totally committed willingness to listen, nothing good's going to happen. If we only listen part-time, if we cooperate part-time and cheat the rest, nothing good can happen. Now, it's not too much of God to ask our total willingness to listen and to hearken. That's the real meaning of obedience. He does not say, if you don't perform perfectly, you don't get in, or he never could have said to the thief on the cross, I'll see you in the kingdom. Think of his performance and many others, even Moses. But Moses was willing to listen, and after he had made that terrible mistake, did he listen from there on, right until the Lord buried him. Moses is willing to hearken. I think the parallel here is very significant. Now, here's another parallel. For rebellion is as the sin of divination, and stubbornness is an iniquity and idolatry. And here we have sin described as rebelliousness and stubbornness, and that runs all through the Bible. Sin is not so much breaking a rule as an attitude of stubborn rebelliousness, which is an unwillingness to hearken and listen. It's on this basis that those incredible characters made Hebrews 11. How do you like Rahab's performance? But God says, you have what I'm looking for, I'll put you in Hebrews 11. How about Gideon? His wives and his concubines and his idol, and yet he's in Hebrews 11. How about Samson? And he's in Hebrews 11. And Jephthah's in Hebrews 11. Now, it isn't that God's gone soft on his requirements. It just suggests that the number one requirement, that is the irreducible minimum, that cannot be less than this, is an unreserved, honest, humble willingness to hearken, to listen, to pay attention. Because all these people, when they arrive in the kingdom, are going to need a lot of correction, as we've discussed before. I mean, Abraham and Sarah are going to need corrections in their dietary preferences. Certainly Luther, he's going to have to make a lot of changes when he gets there in the things he liked to eat and drink. And the disciples, will the Lord have mock fish maybe up there? I don't know that he'd bother with some of those things. But it's going to be different. How about the thief on the cross when he arrives? How much does he know? But he really was willing to listen to the one in the middle, and therefore he's safe to save. Of course, if one is really willing to listen, there's truth in the inner man, a new heart and a right spirit, and that means you're converted and reborn. I mean, something has really happened. It is a pity that we become so preoccupied with what's done with our sinful record in order to get in. The all-important thing is, are we safe to have around? And God amazes us in Hebrews 11 by putting some people in there that we might not have nominated. But there was this willingness to listen. How much did the thief on the cross perform? He never got down off the cross to do a thing. Pay his overdue tithe, maybe empty his freezer of things that shouldn't be in there, and make restitution for all the things he'd stolen. Not a thing did he do. He didn't even get baptized. But he was willing to listen. The stubbornness and rebelliousness were gone. You'd think we were reading the New Testament. We're not. We're reading 1 Samuel, which is supposed to be mostly stories. So the same truth about God and what he wants runs all through the scriptures. And it is not changed when you move from the old to the new. It's that Jesus came to bring the culmination to all the old was pointing toward, not to change any of it, but to explain it and to say, this is why I had to use all those emergency measures all that time. I hope I won't have to use them anymore. But he still has to use some. He'd like eventually to speak to us face to face as a man speaks to his friend, as he offered the disciples.